Hello children, your exams are fast approaching and this is the easy way of doing the revision. Today we have come up with one short video for nutrition in animals. जी हाँ, आपके एग्जाम की तैयारी में आपको एक सिंपल सा प्रोसेस फॉलो करना है, हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना है, लाइक करना है और एक शॉर्ट वीडियो में न्यूट्रिशन इन एनिमल्स पढ़ना है. So let's start with nutrition in animals. In last chapter, we had studied about nutrition in plants, that is the autotrophic nutrition. So how is nutrition divided? Nutrition can be basically classified into two parts, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic nutrition is where plants produce their own food, right? Plants produce their own food. Heterotrophic nutrition is where animals like us, even humans, they eat or feed the products based on autotrophic nutrition. हम प्लांट्स पर डिपेंडेंट हैं डायरेक्टली या इनडायरेक्टली और इसीलिए हम अपने आप को हेटरोट्रोफिक न्यूट्रिशन के अंडर में कंसिडर करते हैं, राइट? हेटरोट्रोफिक न्यूट्रिशन कैन फर्दर बी क्लासिफाइड एज सैप्रोट्रोफिक, पैरासाइटिक और होलोजोइक, राइट? सो हम इसके बारे में अभी डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे. Heterotrophic nutrition. Now, heterotrophic nutrition, that is when we are not producing food but we are dependent on autotrophs directly or indirectly, that mode of nutrition is known as heterotrophic nutrition. Now, heterotrophic nutrition can be classified into three types. Okay, the first is the holozoic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition का मतलब अगर हम खाना पूरा खाना खाते हैं और फिर उसको इंटरनली डाइजेस्ट करते हैं, उसको हम होलोजोइक न्यूट्रिशन कहते हैं. ये ह्यूमंस और एनिमल्स में पॉसिबल है, राइट? सैप्रोफाइट्स हमने न्यूट्रिशन इन प्लांट्स में भी पढ़ा था. सैप्रोफाइट्स में द डाइजेशन इज एक्चुअली नॉट टेकिंग प्लेस विद इन द बॉडी, राइट? फंगस like mushroom, yeast, what do? They would secrete chemicals or digestive juices on decaying matter, right? And then digest the food, take in the digested food. That is how the saprotrophs work. So saprotrophs feed on dead and decaying matter. They do not make their food. They feed on dead and decaying matter. You can have some bacteria and fungi that do saprotrophic nutrition, right? Then comes the parasitic nutrition. आपको अपने बालों के जूओं के बारे में कभी ना कभी तो हुआ ही होगा और nobody likes it, I'm sure, but those are examples of parasitic nutrition. आपकी बॉडी में रहते हैं, आपकी बॉडी से न्यूट्रिशन लेते हैं और खुद का खाना ये भी नहीं बनाते. So, three types of classification that we are going to study about is holozoic nutrition, जैसा कि हम इंसान करते हैं, we take in food, we digest it within the body. सैप्रोफाइटिक न्यूट्रिशन जहां डेड एंड डीकेइंग ऑर्गेनिज्म पर हम फीड करते हैं, एंड पैरासाइटिक न्यूट्रिशन इज व्हेन parasites like lice and then you have tapeworm and other worms that stay within the body, take nutrition from our body but do not prepare their own food. Let's talk about holozoic nutrition in detail. So holozoic nutrition will have certain steps. It will have ingestion, that is taking in a food. It will have digestion, which is the major part of the nutrition, where a complex substance is divided into simple substance. Then absorption, assimilation, and egestion. So the steps that are followed are ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. Let's learn them in detail. Process involved in nutrition. What is ingestion? Ingestion is the process of taking food into the body. खाना खाना, मुंह में खाना डालना और फिर उसको धीरे से अपने डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम में पुश करना. जी हाँ, ये इंजेशन का पार्ट है. Digestion, the process of breakdown of complex components into simpler substances is known as digestion. Then what is absorption? The process by which digested food, एक बार food digest हो गया, उसके बाद वो आपके बॉडी में ब्लड में मिक्स हो जाता है ताकि आपकी बॉडी उससे बेनिफिट हो सके और एनर्जी ले सके. So absorption is the process by which digested food passes into the body in the fluids such as blood. What is assimilation? The process by which absorbed food, अब देखो एक बार food absorb हो गया, उसके बाद वो यूटिलाइज किया जाएगा बाय द बॉडी. इट इज यूटिलाइज्ड बाय द बॉडी फॉर प्रोड्यूसिंग एनर्जी एंड ग्रोथ. सो पहले हमने इंजेस्ट किया, फिर उसको डाइजेस्ट किया, फिर एब्जॉर्ब किया, अब उसे एसिमिलेट करेंगे यानी यूज करेंगे टू फॉर्म एनर्जी एंड टू हैव ग्रोथ. देन कम्स इजेशन, the process of removal of undigested and unabsorbed food. जो फूड पार्टिकल, जो फूड अब बॉडी के लिए यूटिलाइज नहीं हो सकता, उसे बॉडी से बाहर निकालने की जरूरत है थ्रू इजेशन. सबसे पहले हम शुरुआत करेंगे न्यूट्रिशन समझने की थ्रू स्मॉल organism like the unicellular animals like amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism, मतलब एक सेल का बना हुआ है amoeba. तो वो कैसे खाना खाता है? Let's find out. Amoeba will notice food particle near it. ठीक है, एमीबा को जैसे ही सेंस होता है कि उसके पास एक फूड पार्टिकल है, वो सूडोपोडिया फॉर्म करता है. क्या फॉर्म करता है? सूडोपोडिया, मतलब फॉल्स फीट. वो अपने फॉल्स फीट को प्रोजेक्ट करता है और उसे इंजेस्ट कर लेता है, अपने फूड को इंजेस्ट कर लेता है फूड वैक्यूल में. किस में करता है इंजेस्ट? फूड वैक्यूल. यानी वो एक, आप सोचिए अपने मन में ऐसा कि एक थैले जैसा स्ट्रक्चर बना लेता है. सो इट इज मेकिंग अ फूड वैक्यूल एंड द फूड वैक्यूल इज बीइंग used to digest. It has chemicals. It is being used to digest the food and then assimilation of food takes place. Yes, amoeba, even though it is a unicellular organism, will ingest the food, digest the food and then assimilate the food. Right? This assimilation, after assimilation, it is supposed to remove the food, right? It is supposed to remove the food. Let's look at this diagram. Look at this. It is sensing a food particle. It is using its pseudopodia to take in the food. Then it is taking the food in a food vacuole where it is getting digested. Right? And after getting digested, it will be removed by the body. Look at this process. It is being removed by the body. Right? So amoeba does ingestion, takes it into the food vacuole where it is getting digested. It then absorbs and assimilates and then ejects the undigested food particle. Interesting, isn't it? How a unicellular organism can do a complete digestion process. This is another example of a unicellular organism like paramecium. Paramecium is also unicellular. Then how does it digest its food? It has these components called the cilia. Okay, these are the cilia. Cilia moves the food particle slowly and gradually into what can be called its mouth. And after it goes inside the mouth of the paramecium, the process is very similar to that of the amoeba. Let's come to some multicellular organism. Some multicellular organism which behave a little differently, but they have simple process of nutrition. Let's find out. This is Hydra. Now, how does Hydra digest its food? Hydra has tentacles. It will grab the food by its tentacle, take it inside its mouth, and then gradually digest it. Interesting, isn't it? It is a multicellular organism which has tentacles, uses its tentacles to grab the food, take it within the mouth, and then gradually digest it. Now you must be thinking, why have I got spiders and housefly here? They have a very special way of taking in nutrition. See, spider makes a web. We all are aware of it, the spider web. Then a small insect gets captured in it. The spider will inject it with a chemical that will digest it outside the body. Injects chemicals. So, isn't it a very miraculous kind of structure that spider is doing for itself? Spider does not take the food as in total. How does it digest it? It will capture the food, inject a chemical that will digest the food outside its body, and then take liquid food inside. Housefly will also take the liquid food inside. But frog has a very long tongue, a sticky long tongue. What does it have? It has a sticky long tongue. And with the help of the sticky long tongue, it will capture the insects and digest it internally. It has a good digestive system within its body. It just uses its long sticky tongue to capture the insect and then digest the food. Whereas mosquitoes and butterflies, yes, mosquitoes and butterflies, they suck up the blood with the help of their proboscis. Now, what is this? The long structure that you see that seldom bites us as well? Yes, that is how they will suck the blood or the nectar and take it in their body. These are very simple questions but can be asked in 1 markers in your test. So yes, I have spoken about spider and housefly, how they take food outside the body, they kind of digest it outside the body and then take in the liquid food. Mosquito and butterfly, they use their proboscis to take in the liquid food. Now the real story begins. Let's talk about humans, the biggest of the animals with the most complicated digestive system. Advanced, I must say. So our body does all the steps that is required for digestion, right? And it uses a long alimentary canal. Now, my dear friends, you have to understand the alimentary canal starts right from here till the anus. It is a long muscular tube, right? So it is an alimentary canal which has mouth. It starts from mouth. Then it has food pipe, also known as esophagus. Then it has stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. So this is how the long tube is divided into various organs, right? There are certain glands that are associated with our digestive system. Salivary glands, liver, pancreas. These are certain glands that are associated with our digestive system. Let's have a look at our digestive system. This is the mouth where the buccal cavity starts. It has the salivary gland, the teeth, right? This is the food pipe, a long pipe through which the food has to go. It reaches the stomach, then it goes from the stomach to the small intestine, then the large intestine, and is ejected out of the body through the anus. We will now read this whole process in detail, step by step. So this is a quick look at our digestive system, right, which starts with the mouth cavity and ends with the anus. Ingestion, the first process, remains the very simple and the uncomplicated one, right? So ingestion is just taking in the food that you want to eat and your body has to digest. So mouth, ingestion starts with mouth or buccal cavity. So what does the mouth have? Basically, it has teeth and tongue with the salivary glands, right? So our buccal cavity, also known as the mouth, has teeth, tongue, and the salivary glands. Tongue helps in turning over the food so that saliva can be properly mixed in it. Now, the salivary glands present in our buccal cavity, they secrete saliva, right? They secrete saliva this is where the digestion of food starts, right? Tongue helps us mix the saliva and the food together. That helps in the beginning or the starting of the digestion process. Also, it makes it soft and slimy for it to go down the food pipe easily, right? Let's read about them in detail. Now look at this picture. This picture is showing us the salivary glands present in our body, right? हमारे अंदर ये salivary glands present है. Salivary glands produce saliva. Now what does this saliva do? They break down starch into sugar. Starch को sugar में बदलते हैं ये. आपसे question पूछा जा सकता है, when you are eating or chewing a piece of bread, it is not sweet in the beginning, but gradually it starts to taste sweet. Why? So the answer is very simple. When you are eating the bread, it is actually carbohydrate, starch, but it is converted into sugar, which makes it feel sweet. Okay? Now, if you don't believe what I have said, you can perform an iodine test. In one test tube, take what is undigested food or just simple boiled rice for a fact. Boiled rice will have starch or carbohydrates, right? And it will turn, if you do the iodine test, it will turn blue-black, right? Indicating, yes, what I was saying was correct. But if I take boiled and chewed rice, right? Chewed rice, that is you have mixed it with saliva and then you do the iodine test, it will not turn blue-black, indicating now it has been converted into glucose. Our mouth, this is where the whole process starts. So teeth, they will cut and tear and grind the food. It is also known to be the physical digestion process. Physical digestion process. Okay? So it is cutting, tearing and grinding the food before we swallow it. Imagine it, if we take the whole food and just gulp it down, it will be so difficult for us and it will not be an easy process for the digestive system as well. Now our teeth, okay, we are elders now, we have permanent teeth. If we were a baby, we would have had baby teeth or milk teeth, right? Babies have 20 teeth in total, but we have, and when I say babies, young babies, not very small infants, but babies. And this is our teeth. We are now adults and we will have 32 teeth in total. We have incisors, which are 4 incisors, and both in upper and lower jaw. Then we have canines, 2 canines, 2 in lower jaw and 2 in upper jaw. And premolar and molars, we have 10 in total. So let's see 10 in the lower jaw and 10 in the upper jaw, right? So let's see how many teeth that makes it for us. 28 plus 4, 32 teeth, isn't it? Now, the incisors are used for cutting. Canine for tearing. And these 2 for chewing. And thus they are designed accordingly. Premolars and molars are flat because they help in chewing the food, right? We usually have to visit dentist. I know we don't like it, so we have to take good care of our teeth. But what actually happens inside our mouth? Our tooth has the strongest of the covering called the enamel. Tooth decays when the tooth surface is affected by bacteria. You have tooth surface affected by bacteria because bacteria will start making tooth caries, which if we don't go to the dentist in time, will go deeper and deeper. That is, the enamel is being eroded, and when we eat food, bacteria present in the mouth reacts with sugar to make acid. Yes, it changes the pH level of the mouth. It makes an acidic reaction happens here, and acid can destroy enamel, right? So you have a very strong covering. The enamel is the strongest part, but it can be decayed with the help of bacteria that will react with the sugar and produce acid. So this is known as dental decay or tooth carie. Now, what is the tongue there for? Yeah, she's definitely not teasing us, but what is the tongue there for? Tongue helps in mixing the food with saliva, and it also helps us swallow the food, right? And we have the culprits of a system, the saliva, the taste buds. The taste bud, why am I calling the culprit? That is what decides the mom has cooked well, or is it not up to your choice. So taste bud will tell you if the food is bitter, salty, sugary, sour, etc. and make it interesting for you. Esophagus, the long pipe. Please look at this long pipe or tube, also known as the food tube. Food pipe, the food, now the chewed food which is mixed with saliva will go down this long tube into the stomach. But how does it go down? It goes down by peristaltic movement. Look at this. This is contraction. And then there is expansion. So there is rhythmic contraction and expansion known as peristaltic movement, which allows the food to go through the food pipe. Coming to the stomach, the widest of all the organs of the digestive system. This is a very wide organ and it's a bag-like organ, right? It is a bag-like organ which is heavily muscular. It is a bag, muscular bag. What does it have in it? This has an acidic medium. This has an acidic medium. The acidic medium is necessary for the enzymes to work. Yes, you heard me right. Stomach has HCl, hydrochloric acid in it. This hydrochloric acid helps in good functioning of pepsin. The glands present in the stomach will produce pepsin, which works best in acidic medium. Pepsin starts to digest protein. Easy to remember, pepsin, P say protein, right? The mucus, now see how beautiful nature is. We have hydrochloric acid, but to protect the stomach skin, the inner lining of the skin from this acid, we have mucus. Mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach from the acidic medium that is there to digest the food. So there are three things. There is hydrochloric acid and pepsin. They work together to digest food, especially protein, and the mucus is there to protect the inner lining of the stomach. Let's come back to now the food from the stomach will go into the small intestine, but then there are many other things entering the small intestine with the food. What are they? Now we will realize how important liver is, how important the pancreas are. Let's first look at the liver. Liver, the largest gland of the body, is reddish brown in color. It is reddish brown in color and it is situated in the upper part of our abdomen. Liver secretes bile juice. This is very important for you to know. Liver secretes bile juice, but it does not send it to the small intestine directly. It is stored in a small organ called the gallbladder. Now this gallbladder is just a storing device. It stores the bile juice and then sends it to the small intestine as and when required. This is the liver and this is the gallbladder, right? The gallbladder is a pear-shaped hollow structure which is under the liver, right? And it stores the bile juice, a yellow-brown digestive enzyme produced by the liver. Now we know from the stomach that pepsin is starting to digest protein. What does bile digest? Bile starts to digest fats. So bile is digesting fats. This is pancreas. Our pancreas, which is also responsible for producing insulin. But let's talk about the digestive enzymes that it produces. It is a large, not larger than the liver though, it is a large cream-colored gland. It is located just below the stomach. Secretes pancreatic juice into the small intestine. So pancreatic juice directly go into the small intestine. Pancreatic juice acts on carbohydrate, fat and proteins. Yes, you heard it right. Nearly everything is worked upon by the pancreatic juice to convert it into simpler form. Pancreatic amylase, the chemical that is better known as pancreatic amylase, breaking down the starch, trypsin for digestion, proteins and lipase. Now it might sound a little difficult for you. Let's make it easy. So what happens? These pancreatic juices, in short, are working on carbohydrate, fats and proteins as well, right? This then goes into the small intestine. Small intestine is getting food from the stomach, and from these glands it is getting digestive juices. Small intestine is the place where maximum digestion, or rather all of the digestion is taking place. Okay, it had started with the mouth, but now the complete digestion will take place in the small intestine, right? So when the food reaches the lower part of the small intestine, the walls of the small intestine contain glands which secrete intestinal juice. जी हाँ, लिवर से जूस आया, पैंक्रियास से जूस आया, अब इंटेस्टाइन के पास अपना भी इंटेस्टाइनल जूसेस प्रेजेंट है. और ये क्या होता है यहाँ पर? फाइनल कैसे डाइजेशन हो रहा है? प्रोटीन को एमिनो एसिड्स में कन्वर्ट किया जाता है, कार्बोहाइड्रेट को ग्लूकोज में और फैट को फैटी एसिड्स और ग्लिसरॉल में. This is how the complete digestion of food is taking place in the small intestine. Look at this. Fats are converted into fatty acids with the help of lipase. Protein with the help of trypsin is converted into amino acids, and complex carbohydrates with the help of amylase converted into glucose. This is the final step. You must see this is the duodenum, the first part of the intestine, small intestine, where food and the digestive juices are mixing. Most of the digestion takes place in the middle intestine, middle part of the small intestine, which is the jejunum. And the last part of the intestine is called ileum. Absorption. Now the digestion of food has happened, but it has to be absorbed by the body. How does that happen? The small intestine has finger-like projections, which is known as the villi. The villi has blood capillaries in it, right? See, now in the definition of absorption, we had learned that the digested food has to be absorbed by a fluid, most preferably blood, right? So this finger-like projection, which increases the surface area for absorption, has blood capillaries which absorb the digested food. Then the food gets assimilated. Now what do we mean by assimilation? Assimilation is where the food is being used by the cell and is utilized for obtaining energy, building up new tissues and the repair of old tissues, right? So this is where assimilation of food is taking place, right children? So the food has now been digested. The digestion started with the mouth or the buccal cavity, went a little further in the stomach, then was completed in the small intestine. In the small intestine, it was absorbed with the help of villi, assimilated into the blood. And assimilation is using of that absorbed food or digested food for making energy and building up new tissues. The growth and repair and wear and tear all happens with the help of this assimilation. Now, what happens to the food that did not get digested, or some part of the food that needs to be removed from the body? Yes, that happens in the large intestine. The unabsorbed food is sent to the large intestine where it absorbs water. Okay, there are more villi, finger-like structure in the large intestine, they absorb a lot of water, whatever water is remaining from it. And the waste food is now almost solid and is stored in the last part of the large intestine called the rectum. You can see here there is rectum. Here is where undigested food is stored and then it is released through anus. Now you have to understand here, you have the sphincter muscle, anal sphincter muscle, which regulates the outflow of the undigested food, right? Even the stomach has a sphincter, here there is a sphincter muscle that allows the food to go bit by bit into the small intestine. But this here there is an anal sphincter which ensures that the food is ejected out of the body in small portions, controlled fashion rather. That was human digestion. What makes cow, buffalo and other such rumen different from us? It's a very simple process to understand. Actually, it's a complicated process, but simple to understand. What happens in these animals? They are scared of, somebody attacking them or predators kind of attacking them. So what do? They take in food, right? They take in food and there is a part called the ruminant which receives food from the esophagus, partly digested and again sends it back to the mouth. मतलब गाय खाना खाती है, पार्शली डाइजेस्ट करके उसको रूमन में स्टोर करती है और जब आराम से बैठी हो तो उसको वापस अपने स्टमक से माउथ में लाकर डाइजेस्ट करना शुरू करती है और च्यू करना शुरू करती है. तो आपके सुने होंगे बड़े बड़े लोगों से कि जुगाली कर रहे हैं and all those words that are used in terms of cows, buffaloes, where they sit idly and bring in the undigested food into their mouth and start chewing it all over again and simply digest it then. This makes them very different from us. So children, I hope the process of digestion is clear to you. It starts with ingestion, then its digestion happens, then happens absorption, assimilation and digestion. We have learned about how simple organisms like amoeba and paramecium do digestion. Then we also learned about hydra, we also learned about spider, frog. Interesting, isn't it? And of course, the human digestion. At the end, we have also learned about how cow and other organisms with rumen in them do digestion. I hope this chapter was clearly understood and I'm sure you will do good in your exams. Please do like and subscribe our channel and go through this video again in case you need to understand better. Thank you.